Sorry, Matt, you're allowed back in.
Thank you.
Okay. Our speaker this evening has been the councilwoman for the district for a little over 7 years. I first met her probably about 8.5 years ago. She was running for office. I mean, who's Wendy Gruel? Why is she running for office? And I ended up supporting her in the election. What attracted me to her is she's nuts and bolts. She's a plumber. Wait a minute, she's a plumber. What do you mean by that? She fixes problems. Too many of our council members, they have grandiose ideas. They're in charge of solving the budget problem in the city of Los Angeles, which is very important, but you know, they probably don't have the expertise to do it. But they tend to think citywide as opposed to the district. What I found over the years, the most effective council people are the ones that are focused in on solving problems in the district, and that's why I supported her. And through the years, the association has worked with her. Sometimes we pressured her, sometimes we praised her, but that's our role, and she understands it. So with that, I'd like to introduce our current city councilwoman and the next city controller starting July 1, Wendy Gruel. And before you start, we have a little something for you. Jules spent hours putting it together. It is a certificate of appreciation, but this is special because it shows you over the years and how you, well, no, you haven't gotten older. You've gotten younger. Okay, Jules, who are some of the people on here?
Okay, well, your little one with Santa Claus, you at the toy drive with Matt's old car, you and Lexi at one of our cleanup events, you and the fire engine, remember that? You presenting a check to the toy drive, you and your predecessor, and you and the mayor. So we thought that this is a nice little cross section of something.
To acknowledge a staff member that I have had here in the last couple of years who is going off to graduate school, but has been an incredible asset to me and for you to recognize her well, and that, of course, is Lexi Richards, who is here today. As a young person out of college, boy, she just got it. And I don't know about you, she was well beyond her years. I was asked several times if she was my daughter, and I was like, oh, either she looks really young or I look a lot older. But I would have been proud to be your parent. I also want to acknowledge some of my other staff that are here tonight. Pat Davenport, who many of you know, he's been also a great supporter of Primitive. Evan Roosevelt, who is staying in my office and will be helping out here as well. Evan, as well as our very own Dale Thrush, who many of you know, and so we're glad to have him here as well. You know, as people ask me, are you excited about your new job? Because literally 2 weeks from today, I will be sworn in as the controller of the city of Los Angeles. And I tell them I have very mixed feelings. I have a little sadness because I have enjoyed being a council member. I like being called the pothole queen. I love that. And it exemplifies, I think, what has been important about being a council member, and it's the little things that matter. And as you'll see in my remarks tonight, I not only going to talk a little bit about the broad issues, but also about some things that you care about in the neighborhood. I am a little anxious because I have a lot to do in the next 2 weeks to make sure we take care of all of the things that Sherman Oaks wants me to take care of while I'm sitting in this seat. And lastly, I am excited about being the city controller because I am not going far. I am still a resident of the San Fernando Valley. I am part of this neighborhood and this community, and I'm going to be able to, on a citywide basis, make sure that your taxpayer dollars are being spent wisely, that you have a taxpayer advocate, and follow very closely in the footsteps that Laura Chick did, which is to make sure, particularly in these tight budget times, that your money is being spent efficiently and wisely. And so I will come back to Sherman Oaks Homeowner Association, which I have. It's great to see Nooch has been coming, and as you I think Mike Fewer and I, and probably now Nooch, are the ones that have come back, even when we're not on the agenda, to come and just say hello and to be here. And so expect that in the future here at Notre Dame. I want to talk a little bit about issues and info. Before I go there, you know, a lot of people say to me, what's going to happen after, you know, July 1st? Are we going to be abandoned? Well, let me tell you, number one, about 70% of my district staff is staying and will be dealing with the issues as they have since day one. I've had more staff in the field from day one when I got elected than I did downtown, for the main reason of it is about the meat and potatoes. It's about the streets and your trees and your sidewalks and many other things. So they will be there. The other part is, as I said, I'm not going anywhere. I've told some of the departments and I've told my staff that if they don't respond and I see Richard Close and he tells me that there's a problem, that department can expect to be audited. So I have a little different, you know, opportunity as the city controller. So know that, and there are several wonderful candidates that are running for the seat, but that we are going to make sure that you are served. There are several, again, many things we want to resolve in the next couple of weeks that I can to set things straight, but I've also talked to a couple of my colleagues who are going to be there for you and for us to ensure that there's a voice there. And I've never been known as a quiet individual who sits back and does not let my position be known. So know that when I go into the controller's office. I want to briefly talk about the city's budget because as we look at the state budget, the potential for Los Angeles to be impacted by the state's problems is about, on a low, it's about $120 million. At a high, it's $200 million that they will not be sending forward to us. Some of it may be in form of them borrowing from us, money that they owe and paying interest, which may allow us to actually borrow from the fact that they are having to give this money to us in the future, but we do not know. Additionally, we are currently in negotiations, and was this evening and tomorrow, with our city unions, the coalition of unions, to look at some deferrals, all kinds of issues that would relieve our budget so that we don't have to lay off 3,000 employees in the city of Los Angeles or close the city hall 2 Fridays a month, which is potentially what our furloughs will do in the city. We know that this is going to be tough times. It is not going to be easy, but it is not. We are not unique in this instance. And as people asked me when I was running for city controller, the first thing they asked me was, one, what does the controller do? And two, when I described to them what the controller does, they said, why would you ever want to be the city controller in these tough economic times? I believe very strongly that this is the right time to be the city controller, and when we have a budget like this, albeit challenging, but we can change the status quo. We can get back to the basics about what the city is supposed to provide. There's a lot of things the city provides to the residents of Los Angeles which are great, but they may not be what we should be doing every single day, and we have to get back to the basics, and so we'll be looking at that. One item in the budget that I wholly supported was keeping our police force at its current level. And a lot of people said to me, well, that means there's going to be other sacrifices. And I said, yep, I get that. I understand that. But to me, when we have the lowest crime rate we have had in decades, when we have more officers on the street than we've ever had, I don't think we can go backwards on that. And for me, safety makes sure that we have businesses that will move here. Safety ensures that people feel comfortable walking in their streets and their neighborhoods, and that we can reduce the amount of graffiti. And so